Hello and welcome back to another episode of Fresher Take. My name is Becki.
My name's Ben.
And this episode we are going to be talking about planning for the future. But in order to do that, we are joined by a very special guest.
Hello, I'm Lucy. I do media production and I'm really excited to be here. I just want to know more about planning for the future and express what ideas I have for when I leave uni.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us. So, like I said, this episode we're going to be talking about planning for the future and everything that comes with that. Is a plan necessary? How in depth of a plan do you need? Can you just kind of, go with the flow as Ben and I often like to do? And yeah, we're just going to get each other's thoughts and see which one, shall we say, works for each of us. So personally, I have a rough plan for the future. I've not laid out every step. It's not like a ladder. I only know really my end goal and what I roughly need to do in order to get there.
See, I'm kind of more of the opposite to that. I know the next upcoming months or as I'm leaving uni exactly what I want to do, where once I've finished those next few steps until about August time, I have no clue what's going on after then.
So I guess that's kind of good then, Lucy, that, you actually have a plan, because when I was in your position as a third year, I never really had any idea what I wanted to do. Like, I knew that I had to, after uni, get a job, and I knew roughly, where I wanted that job to sort of sit in terms of the industry that I was in. But other than that, I didn't really know at all what I wanted to do. So I think the fact that you've got at least a little plan is good, for at least to get you out of uni.
Yeah, I think planning for life after uni can be very hard. You've had 3 years or 4 years for you, Ben, because you did a master's, where your life has been uni life. Like, yeah, maybe you've had a part-time job or something like that, but now you're looking to start a career, your career in the field that you've either studied in or the field that you want to now go into. And that can be super daunting and really hard to actually navigate. And it's job hunting season is what we like to call it. And all me and my friends, so me and everyone in my house do the same course. And so even though we're going into sort of different sectors of PR, we're all looking for jobs in PR right now. And it's been ridiculous. Like, there's so many, either you don't hear from people or, you're just left in limbo, which can make planning even harder because you don't know where you're going to go, if you're going to have to move city, if you've applied for, jobs in other cities and stuff like that. And so it can be, quite just overwhelming at times, thinking, oh God, I've got to get my life together now, now that I'm a third year.
I don't think there is a roadmap though, really. Like,
No.
when people say I have to get my life together, like, I don't know. I think it's because I'm far too chilled in this sort of situation. I think that when it comes to life, it kind of is what it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have times where you know exactly what you want to do. You're gonna go, right, I know I need to get this job to do this, or I know I want to do this thing. Whereas I don't know, just sort of, maybe it is just me, but I like to think of sort of just let life happen. There's no point planning too far ahead, especially with obviously the last year that we've had. Plans can and probably will go out the window. So maybe again, I'm probably just too optimistic, but I think having too much of a plan is also a bad thing, because then you don't really know what to do if that plan doesn't come off, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think when you leave uni, it's a difficult choice of what do you actually do first. You have to try and move out straight from uni into a different place, or do you move back with your parents? Do you have to get a job first before you decide where you're going to go and live? Like, I'm in that position at the moment where I have a part-time job, so I'm trying to save up to leave, and I've managed to get quite a bit of money, so I can afford to move hopefully straight out instead of going back home. But then from there, I'm going to have to find a job as soon as I can, and I don't want to have to be trying to find a job while I'm like doing my last month of uni. And it is like the stepping stones of, there's a couple of gaps in your plan where you just sort of have to wait it out and see what happens, instead of planning it by like, by this day I want to have this, by this day I want to have a job. Like, you just need to sort of wait it out sometimes and see where you go.
Yeah, It really is. I think that whole idea of waiting though, and having to just sort of see what happens and see what comes along can make so many people feel very, very like anxious though, because especially if you knew where you've known what you're going to do in uni, so you know your modules, you know when your things are due, do you know what I mean? You've had like a plan in that sense, and then to go from that to not nothing, but to just far less certain of everything is a lot. It is a lot. I think as well. I know we say this on every single podcast, but try and avoid comparing yourself to other people. Um, Somebody's going to have, their whole life planned out, and somebody's not, and somebody's going to be in the middle, and that is all perfectly fine. Different things, work for different people, and that's just the way life is. That's just the way it is. So just try and avoid comparing yourself and your plans to other people, especially if those other people are doing the same thing as you, because that's where things get very tricky and very difficult as well.
It's hard.
Yeah, I feel like you need to always remember that, like, your life is like your own. Like, you don't really need to, like, especially when you see like your high school friends on like Instagram and they've already moved out or something, or they've already like got to where they want to be, and you're a bit like, oh god, I'm still at uni and I don't know what I'm doing next. I don't have a job plan. I don't have anywhere to go after that. Like, you need to think like that's like it was their choice. It was your choice. Like, you may have something else come up that like it's just a totally different life, really. And yeah, it's just, although like waiting out is obviously a scary game, but it's the sort of, you have to like be a bit more chilled about it. Be like Ben, be chilled.
But there comes a point where being chilled isn't really the way to go. As much as I advocate it and I'm sat there going, yeah, I'm just really chilled, nothing ever stresses me out. If you're 30 and you're still sat there thinking, don't know, maybe, do you know what I mean? A plan needs to be had. But I think that, like, in terms of what makes like a good plan, I think we've all sort of alluded to it, that there is no real like perfect way for you to plan your life. Like no one ever thought that we wouldn't be able to leave our house for like 8 months of the last year. No one ever thought that, I personally never thought I would end up doing a master's, but because of the circumstances that I was given, I applied for a master's because I thought it's something to do, something to strengthen my CV and strengthen my personal skills. But now actually I found another way of getting to the same end goal. So I've always wanted to work as like in the TV and sort of radio industry, but because now I do journalism and had done media production, where I want to go is the same end destination, but because now I've had time to develop myself and do something that I didn't really think I was going to do, because I didn't think I was going to do a master's. I've now found different and actually more interesting ways to get to where I wanted to go. So as much as I sit here and I go, yeah, I'm chilled, I've got a master's, it's all, I still had to figure out, in that split second, what do I want to do? Do I want to just have a full-time job and try and find work outside of that? Or am I going to try and develop my skills further in a specific area, which I'd like to think I'm starting to do. I think my master's is definitely helping me. But
yeah, I don't think enough people think about like postgraduate study. I think people think that you get your degree, you do your 3 years, you get out, you get into the working space. That's not always the case, and I don't think enough people do think about doing a master's, especially for you. It's only going to strengthen what you want to do. It blends in really nicely to like the media BA that you did, and that is an option. Postgraduate schemes or like masters or whatever are options. And if you feel like you're not done with university, if you feel like there's more you want to learn and there's more that you want to do, and that you're not going to be able to get in a working environment or at a workplace, definitely consider doing one, because what's there to lose? Obviously there's things like funding and everything like that, but again, you talk to student support services, the advice center, anything like that, and they will absolutely help you out with any of those questions that you do have. I also think getting your like CV in order and your LinkedIn accounts, and making sure you've got some money in the bank, like Lucy was talking about, is a very good they're not necessarily plans, but they're very good, like, bases. That's not a
Yeah,
word.
it's like a safety net, isn't it? Really, like
Yeah.
because you know roughly what you want to do, and because, like you said, if you're like Lucy and actually plan, you have sort of money in the bank to be able to do sort of, or to be able to at least springboard that next step post university. You're in a really good position to at least begin thinking about the next stage. But I think that in itself is quite a good discussion of like, do you need necessarily a plan for your entire life, or do you just plan stages of your life? Like you said, you've done, Lucy. You know what you want to do up until, you know, August, September when you finish uni. Do you think that if you planned everything out, say the next 5 years, do you think that's going to be actually less or more productive because then you have to feel like you have to stick to that plan?
I feel like if you have a specific end goal, then that would probably help. Like, you know, you want to go into TV, radio production sort of thing. I'm not too, like, I want to go into film production, but I don't know exactly where in film production I want to be. At the moment, with past film sets I've been on, I just love being on the set. Like, I don't know which part I want to go on to. So I'm just sort of enjoying, like, going with the flow, like, getting to know, like, all the different parts on set and like all the different roles people take and like which one I sort of enjoyed the most. So like that's why I think personally for me doing like a 5 year plan or whatever wouldn't really work. I think for me I've sort of like planned so I want to move straight out from uni, so in April I'm going to start looking for houses. I'm going to stay around Lincoln because obviously like I know like the atmosphere a lot more, and like I'm not too far from home because I'm only from Yorkshire area, so it's not particularly far, but I'm going to stay around Lincoln area since I sort of know the people around there, know the people who work on the film sets, know the sort of directors who would know that I'm wanting to be on film sets sort of situation, and hoping by April I'd be looking at places, maybe like trying to pick which one I obviously want to stay in. June is when my uni apartment here ends at the end of June, so I want June to be sort of like my moving out month sort of situation. But then from there, that's sort of the end of my plan. Hopefully by June, August, I've got the house and I've not had to go home. But yeah, I'm just trying to hopefully find a job in the film industry somewhere in Lincoln. I've been looking obviously and got a my CV is not particularly fully made yet, but I've got like a list of things ready to go onto it. Like it's not as if like I need to remember to put things on it. But yeah, I just need to make sure I've got everything set for August time, really.
I like that though. I like that you've got that sort of almost kind of like not necessarily like a vibe, but like an idea of sort of how you want to go about doing what you want to do. You know, you're not sat there going, I have no idea what I'm doing, or alternatively, you're not sat there going, I need to do this, otherwise I'm a failure. You know, as long as I'm a strong believer. Again, I don't really like to plan things too extensively unless obviously I need to. So like the fact that you've got this rough ballpark idea of as long as I'm in this situation roughly by this time, I'm fine. Because I think from the conversations we've had now and obviously off air or off the record, let's say, you know, you strike me as the type of person that wouldn't really benefit from a long term, extensive, comprehensive plan of life because it's just not. Because you're similar to me and you've worked in the media industry, you know you want to be in the media industry. It's such a volatile place, such a fast moving place. There's no way you can physically have a 5 year plan in media because it changes. Obviously, you might be a lot luckier than we are, Becky, because obviously PR is quite a solid ground to set your base up. But, you know, I think for us, there's no way we can have that plan because it's like you're not going to, for example, just get a management role in a business, for example, and sort of be like, right, I'll work my way up that business or whatever. In the media, it's sort of, I'll get this job and then I'll end up bouncing to this job. And if there's no films on, then what do? Do I go to a different job? Do I then work in videography and then do I work in promotion? And, you know, there's no set thing. At least with PR, there kind of is. And obviously, I hope you'll either prove me wrong or back me up there, Becky.
Yeah, no, it kind of works the same in PR though, because there's so many different fields that you can go into. And so, for example, I want to go into like entertainment. Getting into entertainment can be quite hard because you usually have to have experience doing specifically entertainment PR. So it really is just sort of about people giving you a chance and giving you a shot and everything like that. But I don't really believe in long-term plans. I think they very rarely work. Like a 5-year plan, I think puts far more pressure on you than do you know what? I'm going to go do this. I'm going to see if I like this. And if I don't, I'm going to plan something else. And if I do, then great. Do you know what I mean? I like those kind of plans. Right now, all I have is I'm probably going back to London because that's where the wealth of jobs are for my area. But I'm also from there, so it's easier for me to save money whilst I have like an entry level job that pays nothing. So that's literally all my plan is currently. I'm going to get a job and I'm going to, you know, get some experience in there and then go from there. That's really all I have so far. I just don't believe in planning out your life. I just don't think it works.
Yeah, I think I think you kind of got to make a plan that works for you, though. I think because it's like we've said this all, you know, throughout the podcast of that. Not, you know, one size doesn't fit all, and not everything is going to be perfect and sunshine and rosy. But I think you've got to. The first thing you can do if you want to make a plan is you need to do, like, I don't want to say introspection, but like do some, like, at least some reflection of like what is important to you. You know, is that, you know, some people that might just be in the next 10 years, I want to have a house and a wife and kids. Do you know what I mean? But whereas other people that might be, I want to have X amount of money as a salary and then, you know, keep working my way up a business. Or it could be, I just want to be happy. You know, that could be someone's plan of, I just want to have a nice life. So I think if you can sit back and go, this is what I want from life and this is what I need to achieve it, you're pretty much on the way to a fairly solid plan. Because you're not doing anything too rigorous in terms of, I need to do this, I need to do that. But at the same time, you're not planning.
Yeah, I get what you mean. No, 100%. And I think it's that action. You know, you have to put some sort of action into a plan, into doing, because it's all fun and well me dreaming about, you know, leading the Warner Brothers communications team, but unless I'm doing something to get to there, unless I'm, you know, actually doing things to achieve those goals and to achieve that dream, then it is just me dreaming. And those are two very different things. And I think this actually leads perfectly into the activity that I found for this episode. So this is very much an introspective activity, like Ben was saying. It involves you writing down a lot of big questions. So what are you happy doing? What do you enjoy doing? What do you not enjoy doing? Is there somewhere that you particularly want to live? Like, do you want to move from Lincoln to London or Manchester, and why? What can you do to achieve that? Have you saved up money? Can you start saving up money? Can you get a part-time job to save up that money, or a full-time job in the meantime to achieve those goals? Think about the steps that you can take to get somewhere and write it all down. Really get it out onto a piece of paper so that you can visually see what it's going to take. And suddenly you'll find that maybe you do have the beginning of a plan. Maybe just by answering these questions about yourself, you'll begin to see a plan form. It is as simple as that. And again, maybe not. Maybe you don't need a plan. Maybe it will show you that you do need to take more steps or do other things in order to reach any of the goals that you've set out. And yeah, what do you guys think about that? What do you think about actually writing things down and answering those questions about yourself?
I think it sort of goes back to what we were saying earlier about having that, just knowing what you want sort of thing. Because it's all well and good, like you said, Becki, and what you've alluded to as well, Lucy, being like, this is what I want to do. But if you don't actually do it, or don't have a physical proof that you want to do it, then do you really want to do it? It's the same as like, if a tree falls down and no one's listening, did it actually fall down? Well, yes, it did, but no one's got proof of it. You know, I, like you said, I could say I'm going to be the next Stephen Mulhern or Dermot O'Leary, but if I don't put anything into place or don't show an active interest in what I'm doing, then am I really going to achieve it? Probably not. So I think having that having a plan almost written down of things I do, don't like, want, don't want. You know, it's the beginning of giving you that springboard to be able to go, right, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah, I think it's also like having something like that would definitely help, but you need to also remember that, like as Ben's already said, that not every single route is the exact route you have to take. Like with him doing a master's, he's still getting to the same end goal, but he's just taking a different route. Like my plan is, if I don't manage to get a job in the media this year, I'll take this year of just working like a generic job and then going back to do a master's. So I've saved up the funds to do a master's. Then hopefully from there I'll have more experience and know more where I want to go, what I want to do, and then sort of plan from there again. So it's sort of like having different stages in your plan. And like, so if I don't get a job this year, my backup is going back and doing a master's. I'll probably get more experience from that, and then I'll know maybe more where I want to go from there. And I feel like making sure that you have a backup plan is also like just a good practice to have, because not everything always goes your way. Like we've all seen from this past year that not everything always goes to plan.
Yeah. I think making sure that you're not putting too much pressure on yourself because of a plan or because of goals you've written down or anything like that is key. Because if this year's taught us anything, it's taught us that life is the most unpredictable thing ever. You don't know what's going to happen. You can't plan for global pandemics and, being locked in your house for 8 months. You can just deal with what you have and do it to the best of your ability. And that's it, really.
Do you know what? If you do have a plan for what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do if I'm locked in my house for 8 months of a year, you don't need to listen to this podcast. You've already completed life. You know exactly what you want to do, and you know exactly how you're going to do it. You have a plan for every single eventuality, which I applaud you for, but I could never, ever have anywhere near that level of organisation.
No, that is correct. I think that is a perfect place to leave off this episode. So thank you for joining us on this episode of Fresher Take about planning for the future. Be sure to join us next time, where Ben and I, and probably another special guest, will be talking about managing stress. Head over to the ULL Instagram page, which is at ULL Student Life, where we put up polls asking for, your advice or your opinions on our next topic, which is going to be managing stress. So check out those and watch out for them. Find us on anything. We post videos and blog posts and everything like that helps you guys with just coming to uni and your general student life, hence the name. I think that's great. But until then, I have been Becki.
I've been Ben.
And thank you to Lucy for joining us on this episode, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.